Dan's going to respond, but I'll just add to your list because everything you said was true. I'll add to your list. The Democrats can say, well, leaders haven't cheered Charlie's death, but they've not condemned in a full-throated way what many on the left have done. And they've now, the hypocrisy of Democrats in the media saying, how dare there be cancel culture? How dare there be efforts to get people fired? The hypocrisy of that.
Mark, but I watch these guys, to your point, like Chuck Todd sitting out there, we both need to take the temperature down. He has never once said a damn thing about anything when the right was being canceled for the last 8 years. And one last thing that I'll say on this. For 8 years, actually going on 10, if you think about this shooter, he's 22, 20, I guess 22 now. So think about this. Since he's been 12 years old, all that kid has heard in legacy media, by educators. I remember my kids, when Trump was elected, they had a crying day. You could take the day off. It's a nursery school, for goodness sake. We have been told that this side and our leaders pose an existential threat. You wonder why 12-year-olds grow up and become radicalized, because they've been told that our side is horrible and bad.
So I will say, everything Sean said was true. And I'll say, for those of you who say, we're done with both sides, okay? Now Dan's going to tell you why his side has some real grievances. We're not saying they're identical, but it is not going to solve America's problems. It's not going to bring the country together for one side to say, our hands are clean. We have no problems whatsoever. Every problem is so much worse on the other side. Okay? Dan, take as much time as you'd like.
You know what? I'm actually not going to. I'll just say I disagree. We're not going to convince each other of this. I hear Sean. I do. The one thing I agree with both of you on is it is somewhat comical to hear people say, oh, you're canceling the other. Obviously, that's been a part of our politics the last few years, and the left has to hold the mirror up on that front. But just look,
the left and the media. I've never seen the New York Times and the Washington Post on that one. I've never seen the New York Times and the Washington Post so upset as they were over the weekend about people being canceled and about people using free speech to call out other behavior that they don't like. Dan.
I mean, as I say, I don't agree with some of that stuff, and I think it's not healthy for anyone to talk about destroying the other.
Yeah. Gotta move on. Gotta move on.
No, I don't want anyone to walk away like thinking it's never acceptable, and that's the bottom line. But the point is that there is a degree. This is deep and visceral. And when you see these people, to Mark's point, suddenly now they've reached a boiling point.
Yeah. It's deep and visceral. It's deep and visceral for the president's disproportionate reaction to what happened in Minnesota. That's deep and visceral for people on the left. It's deep and visceral for the president to make fun of Paul Pelosi being attacked. That's also deep and visceral. Not saying they're identical, but I'm saying they're deep and visceral feelings on the other side.
Well, I mean, there are, and they're just, everyone is so angry and doesn't hear. And I heard it all weekend. Like I heard both sides. In fact, some of the community stopped me in Central Park this weekend, and I talked to one person for almost an hour who's very pro-Trump. And we both agreed. People just don't hear each other. And both sides think the only way we will move forward is if the other side is destroyed and stopped.
Yeah. If you haven't read David French's column in the New York Times, I recommend it to you. Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss a clip, and you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.